Hello everyone, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to talk about the flying star chart and how to interpret it. This is mostly meant for people who are relatively new and don't understand how to pick out a sector that is good for either wealth and money or for health and relationships. The two most important stars in the chart is the facing and sitting stars, and those are the two small numbers in the flying star chart. They're usually raised above the big number in the center. The base star, which is the big number in the center, can support either star or neither star. It can be either way. When a facing star is supported, and the biggest part of the support is, does the facing star support the sitting star, or does the sitting star face the supporting star? That is what you're asking here when you're looking at a sector. But when a facing star is supported, it's an indicator that that sector is better put to use to earn money and gain wealth. This means that your main door and your home office are two places that can go there. If you have a home office, that's definitely where you want to have the facing star supported. If you're more concerned about health and relationship, your main door can actually have the sitting star supported. But if you do not have a home office, then it's probably better to have your main door have the facing star supported. When a sitting star is supported, it's an indicator that that sector is better used to improve your health and relationships. So that can be a kitchen, your owner's bedroom. It could be an exercise room if you have one, a home gym, that kind of thing. It's best put to use for that. Now, when it comes to relationships, you could consider maybe you want to have your family room have also the sitting star supported, but that's not as important because you don't tend to do too many important things in the family room. You basically watch TV. Now, each sector has either one or both stars of the flying and sitting stars supported. And it all boils down to the star's elements. How do the elements interact with one another? And each star, that is each number, has an element associated with it. This table and this chart you probably should take a screenshot of, because this tells you everything you need to know. And you can analyze any chart with these pieces of data. So, as I said, every element has a number associated with it. Water has just the number 1. Wood has the 3 and 4. Fire has the 9. Earth has 3. It's 2, 5, and 8. And metal is 6 or 7. And this is the growth cycle. So water produces wood. That makes sense. Wood produces fire. That also makes sense. Fire produces earth. So you can think of earth as ashes. It's not quite, but it's at least similar in texture. And then earth produces metal. That is, you get metal out of earth. And if you've ever gone camping, especially in the old days, you had a metal water pump at the campground where you pumped water. You actually had to pump it, not just turn on a faucet. And so metal produces water. So that's the growth cycle. The controlling cycle, if we start at water again, water puts out fire. Fire melts metal. Metal chops wood. Wood depletes earth. And earth muddies water. That's how I remember it anyway. And so you are going to be looking at the stars in your flying star chart. And you can start with the sitting star if you like. So the one on the top left. And whatever that number is, you want to see if the facing star is listed in one of these 3 columns. And if it's growth, what I'm going to show you, I'm going to have an arrow in green. If it's a friend, it'll be a double pointed arrow in black. And if it's control, it'll be a red arrow. So let us go to an actual chart. This is a period 6, South 2 or South 3 facing house. And they have the same chart, that's why it's either one. And we want to look at the individual sectors by themselves. So I'm going to go sector by sector. So here we have the southeast. We're going to start in the upper left, go to the bottom right. If we start with 1, we look over here. Do we see a 2? Well, we see a 2 here. So this is a controlling relationship. There is a slight difference between girlfriend and controlling, but what you're looking for here is which star is supported. So of these two, it is the sitting star that is supported. We can look at, again, here, well, I already know this because 2, 5, and 8 are friends of one another. We know that this also has to be a controlling relationship. And so we have the arrow pointed again towards 1. This also improves 1. And for the 2 and the 5, they are friends of one another, so they interact, they support each other. Now, when you have the base star supporting one star or the other or both, that means there's a possibility of improvement in the future. It's a measure of opportunity. So if the arrow is pointing towards either the sitting or facing star, then that means there's improvement available in the future. If it's going the other way, it doesn't mean that there's that there's reduced chances. It just means that you don't get any boost. There's no extra opportunities. So what this says, because both of these arrows are pointing towards the sitting star, this is a sector that's better for health and relationships. And there are future prospects to improve actually both health and relationship as well as money and wealth, because this is a friendship relationship. So let's just look at sector by sector, and I'm not going to go line by line, but you can see that this is a friend. The friends always are the same number or the same element. And this case, both the metal, they produce water, so it's pointing downwards. So this is good for both aspects because both the facing and sitting star are supported because they're friends of one another, but there's no room for improvement over time. It doesn't mean it gets worse, it just means there's not going to be extra opportunities. Now this is the southwest. Here we have again, just like the first one, this is actually, even though the numbers are different, you've got the exact same setup. The 8 is supported, the sitting star, so this is better for health and relationships, and there's future prospects to improve everything. So it's a pretty good sector. This one is a little more complicated, but basically it does support the health and relationships, but no improvement in either because the arrows are pointing down towards the base star. So here is the center. The center is a very important star, or very important sector, because this actually has an effect on your entire house. So in this case, it's pointing towards the facing star. And this is growing the facing star also. So this means that this is better for money and wealth, and there are future prospects to improve money and wealth. It's not so much for health, but you can use other sectors that are good for health for that. And so this does affect the entire house. And this is actually a pretty good sector or pretty good numbers to have in your center sector, that you are supported in terms of money, because then you don't generally have to worry about your future prospects unless something really bad happens, like you become addicted to painkillers or something. You know, that could happen, and that would really change everything. But this is on your current level, you should be fine. So this sector in the West is clearly better for money. And it's actually quite a bit like the center in terms of the relationship. Uh, you only have improvement in your health, in your money and wealth. This is the Northeast. Again, it's better for money, but you still have some chance of having improving your health here. So it's an okay sector too. This one is actually like the very first one in the Southeast. It's better for health, but you have chance to improve everything. And this one, the last one in the Northwest, we have it's better for money with a bit of improvement in your health and relationships, but no improvement for your finance. So when I do this, what you're going to see in my videos in this playlist is instead of going through all that, I will just start circling which star is supported. And I usually do it in red simply because you can see red pretty easily on this background of white. And this, when you look at this, if it's the facing star that is supported, that's generally better for money. And if it's the sitting star, it'll be better for health and relationships. I could color code them like this, and occasionally I do, but we are kind of mixing things. We have green for money, and we have red for mostly the Chinese like red for celebration. That's why I've chosen it. Actually, it's pink, because if I made it red, you couldn't read anything. Now, timeliness of these facing and sitting stars cannot be ignored. It's not too important in the base star, but it is important in the sitting star and facing star. If you have any one of the four the activated special formations, if that's present, then all stars become timely for all periods. And that makes it much easier to interpret your chart. You just generally know it's good. Now these four are the combo 10, which is the easiest one to actually activate. Then you have the pearl string, parent string, and 7-star robbery. These three all require specific external landforms. The combo 10 is better with good landforms, but they're not necessary. This one also has a lot of internal and external structural requirements in the house. And this can get very, very difficult to activate unless you're lucky and your house already is kind of aiming towards this. I want to remind everybody that the annual stars are unaffected by the presence of a special formation, whether it's activated or not. So the annual stars need to be cured or mitigated as needed. And of course, they change every year and move around your house. So this is one reason why you do have to know what the annual stars are. When no activated special formation exists, and that is quite a few houses where this is, all stars must be treated as the current period states. That is, some stars will be timely, other stars won't be. For period 9, everybody agrees that 9, 1, and 2 will be timely stars. Most or many, but not all practitioners also say 4, 6, and 8 are generally positive. And I basically agree with them. But I do think that Shachi can turn these generally positive ones towards the negative side. And 1 is also included in this group, but I don't include it here because 1 is timely even by the most pure traditionalists. So 1 is normally included in this group because once in period 7, 1 was not timely. But I do think it was still good, even back then. Now, star combos are also important, and especially important when you do not have a special formation that's activated. And there's a full table, and it tells you all the negative and positive aspects.
and it's on David Gau's site, and he calls his company Imperial Harvest, I think. So you can just Google this or try to copy this, but I'm not going to repeat it because it's 81 different combinations. It would take forever. You can just read that. He does a pretty good job, and it's more on the traditional side. You can kind of ease up on where the 4, 6, 8, they don't get negative too often, and neither does 1. Now, if you have an activated special formations, all of your sectors are to be interpreted positively, and that's the advantage. But I still say you should block Shachi, because if there's some reason that your special formation becomes unactivated, you already have the Shachi blocked. And blocking is easiest done with a living tree, evergreen. And if you can't see it, it can't affect you. And we're mostly talking about Shachi that you can see either through a door or through a window. If it hits a solid wall, it doesn't affect you so much. Now, the current period star, as well as the 2 upcoming period stars, are always considered timely by even the most ardent traditionalists. But many masters also say that 1, 4, 6, and 8 are also generally positive regardless of period. And they basically say they tend towards the positive side much more easily. It takes something like Shachi and fairly strong Shachi to make them turn negative. Now, this is the fully traditional timely and untimely stars. And you can see that they're quite limited. And right now, we are still in period 8, just the very last year of period 8. Next year, this is period 9, so we lose the 8, but we gain the 2. And that, in some ways, that's kind of nice because 2 has gone from a really negative star to a positive star. And so I do look forward to period 9. So I think everybody will ultimately become healthier because this will turn from a illness star to a wealth star. And I do think the world as a whole, I think there'll be some real breakthroughs in healthcare. But remember, 4 and 6 are the other ones here, and 8 also for period 9. That would be considered negative. But 8 is hard to get negative. I mean, it really is the most positive possible star. And you can see that 8 is never in the death or the killing chi locations. It's just either in retreat or decline. That's as bad as it can get. So I would say 8 is almost certainly going to be positive unless you have Shachi. And I still say that both 4 and 6 are generally good also, again, depending on Shachi. And most masters do agree with this general thing. And in fact, star 4 is almost always considered excellent for learning and intelligence. And star 6 is good for money. And this is basically the interpretation of almost all masters that I've heard, although some don't say that, but they're quite small in number. So I'd like to thank you for watching. Please feel free to contact me here if you have any questions, or visit my ad-free website, which can be of good use if you are doing your own analysis, because I have a calculator there under the calculator tab that can help you determine your true facing direction. I'd like to thank you again for watching.